give yourself permission to be in the valley. One of our counselor, one of our, our family counselor, life counselor, whatever you want to call him, our counselor, we've done a lot of counseling with this guy. And one of the things he told me was, Noble, why do you think that the valley is negative? And I was like, dude, what are you smoking, bro? You must be smoking the good stuff. Like, what do you mean a valley is not negative? I'm like, the definition, by definition of a valley, it's negative. He said, why? And I mean, I'm telling you, you want to talk about questions. And I thought, wow. And he said, dude, maybe God's supposed to teach you something in the valley. Maybe there's a lesson for you in the valley. Go hunting for the Easter eggs of lessons in the valley that you're in right now. Don't try to run out of it before the lesson is learned. What are you supposed to learn in that valley? So give yourself permission to be in the valley. What is God wanting you to learn in the valley? What is going on, entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers, and all my military peeps, my veterans, my homeschool peeps, or homeschool homies? Well, what? I heard someone call them homeschool mafia. What? All right, so check this out. So six crucial lessons from my most recent valley. Give me a hashtag. So hashtag valley. So 6 crucial lessons from my most recent valley. And I'm talking like this was this weekend. So, and last week a little bit. So 6 lessons. All right. If you watched, and I've got my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm checking out here. If you watched my last video or heard my last video or the recent episode on EQ for Entrepreneurs podcast, what's up, bro? Big Keith. You heard me share about a very emotional week last week. Hey, what's up? Last week was very emotional, and just ups and downs. And the weekend, same thing, took a turn for the worst. And that's right, Keith. So my emotions were overwhelming. And I'm going to kind of read this because I kind of wrote out what I was feeling here, and I want to get it right for you guys. So my emotions were overwhelming this past week. Krista! I couldn't think of any of the stuff I've been recommending to all of you in the EQ for Entrepreneurs podcast, in any of the videos I've done on Facebook or YouTube. I couldn't remember any of the stuff that I've recommended. I was completely, I was stuck. I was locked up in my emotions. I couldn't pull up my emotional airplane that was in the downward spiral. It was just, and I could not get out of this, get out of the feels. It was like I couldn't feel anything, and yet my emotions were still pulsating like an adrenaline-filled blood vessel. I couldn't identify my emotions. I couldn't organize my emotions. I couldn't shut off my emotions. I couldn't compartmentalize, which I was trying to do. Normally, again, I've got 2 PhDs, one in avoiding feelings and emotions, and number 2 in stuffing them. So I've got 2 PhDs in the area of emotional intelligence, and they're both not good PhDs. So I just could not shut off the valve that was pumping out all these emotions. And after a bit of stewing unproductively, thankfully, this is one of the times where I made a productive decision, but thankfully, because I was stewing unproductively. I was just stewing, and I couldn't think straight. I had no clarity. Confusion kills. Clarity is king. Confusion kills. Clarity is king. And I just could not get out of my head. So after a bit of stewing unproductively, I thankfully made the decision to break the cycle and my physical stew cycle and go for a brief, slow run, which are actually the only two types of runs in my inventory right now at this point: brief and slow. So, and here's the thing, Kathy was in a similar spot. So both of us were in kind of these emotional valleys, and she had to go for a walk. And both of those decisions were very helpful. So that's a little free one there. That's not one of the 6 points. That would be a bonus one, is when you're stuck in your emotions, a good idea. And actually, this is one of my points there later. I'll bring it up later down the road. Okay. So late last night was actually a turn for the worst, where we actually, Kathy had an hour and a half pure ugly cry. I'm talking like thug tears, just straight ugly ghetto cry, man. It was no joke, right? And Kathy, for those of y'all who know us, many of you know that I cry more than my wife does, right? So for her to be an hour and a half of just like ugly cry was, it's no joke. It was rough. And, we were having a very deep conversation with some friends of ours, and they had intentionally reached out to us to have a conversation and to discuss some tough subjects and stuff. But here's the thing: the relationship was already built with that couple. That it was already established, and both of us and that other couple, we had sown and invested a lot into each other over the years, and actually over the course of, I want to say, over a decade now. So we got a lot of great time. So here's lesson number one. Lesson number one, give me #1. Lesson number one: dig your relational well before you're thirsty. Dig your relational well before you're thirsty. Sow into friends before you need one. Sow into friends before you need one. That's number one. Now, the second thing the second lesson is take the initiative in your relationship. So that couple reached out to us based on where they were at. They reached out to us. And so number 2 is take the initiative in your relationships. Number 3, ask yourself some of the following questions. Number 3, ask yourself some of the following questions. What do you need? What do you need? And here's the thing: if all else fails, do something physical. It does something. The physiological impact of us doing something physical is helpful. It gets the blood going, the chemicals going. Go exercise, grow, learn something, bust out the Bible, read some encouraging verses. I call the Bible my spiritual 7.62 millimeter, machine gun, my spiritual weapon there. Read your favorite author, bust out your favorite music playlist, watch some funny comedians or whatever, right? Laughter helps out too. So that's number 3. The first thing under number 3 is, what do you need? The next question under number 3 is, who do you need? Now, not from an emotionally needy perspective, right? I'm talking from a healthy perspective. So again, not emotionally unhealthy where you're codependent in that relationship. I'm talking from an emotionally healthy perspective. And then who needs you? So not just who do you need, but who may need you? You may be on somebody's list. So think, that's something to really think about and consider. This is money. How can you deepen a friendship or relationship during this time? How can you deepen a friendship or relationship during this time? How can you sow into a relationship during this time? Okay, so those are all number 3. Now, in the midst of Kathy's thug tears, okay, in the midst of just the downpour of the emotional intensity, they asked Kathy and us, they asked both of us a handful of questions. And here's my next point. After they asked a few questions, it completely unlocked a floodgate of creativity in my brain. I mean, it was like fireworks were going off. Neurons were firing. I could almost feel them blowing up. Right? I mean, I'm telling you, my brain was en fuego. I mean, it was going, it was going. So here's number 4. Number 4, never underestimate the power of a question. Never underestimate the power of a question. Okay, so some thoughts under that point, number 4. What questions have you been asking yourself? Put a question in the chat log. What's a question that you've been chewing on during the last month? What's a question that you've been reflecting on? Next one. What are 1 or 2 questions you can ask someone else? What are 1 or 2 questions you can ask someone else? What question would you like someone to ask you? Do you have a question? Man, I really wish if so and so could ask me this question. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's a relative, maybe it's a best friend, something like that. So that's under number 4. But here's the thing: the low point and the questions and the creativity that was as a result of the low point and the questions that released the creativity that was released during that time will be a turning point in my life. It was that major of a deal. So I am literally in the valley. Kathy's in the valley, hardcore. We're both in the valley. And here's the beautiful thing is God is not just the God of the mountaintops. He's also the God of the valleys. God will meet you where you are at, in the jail cell, in the prison, like he was with Big Petey Pablo back in the old school days, St. Paul. So number 5 is give yourself permission to be in the valley. One of our counselor, one of our family counselor, life counselor, whatever you want to call him, our counselor, we've done a lot of counseling with this guy. And one of the things he told me was, Noble, what's God supposed to be teaching you in the valley? Why do you think that the valley is negative? And I was like, dude, what are you smoking, bro? You must be smoking the good stuff. Like, what do you mean a valley is not negative? I'm like, by definition of a valley, it's negative. He said, why? And I mean, I'm telling you want to talk about questions. And I thought, wow. And he said, dude, maybe God's supposed to teach you something in the valley. Maybe there's a lesson for you in the valley. Go hunting for the Easter eggs of lessons in the valley that you're in right now. Don't try to run out of it before the lesson is learned. What are you supposed to learn in that valley? So give yourself permission to be in the valley. The question under number 5 of giving yourself permission, what is God wanting you to learn in the valley? What lesson are you supposed to be learning in the valley? Okay, next, give yourself permission to feel all those uncomfortable, awkward, intense emotions. Allow yourself to feel them. Why? I say this almost every episode. Pain and bitterness that's not transformed will be transferred. Pain and bitterness that's not transformed will be transferred somewhere else in your life. As a 2 PhD guy in the area of stuffing emotions and avoiding emotions, I'm here to tell you that little cute, furry, fuzzy, emotional monkey, after decades of stuffing and avoiding, will turn into the 800-pound gorilla that will be rear naked choking you, that will be choking you out. And you're wondering, man, why can't these people, why am I having such a tough time at my job? Why am I having such a tough time in relationships? Why can't my husband just get his poop in a group? Why can't my kids get their stuff together? Why can't my wife, say the right stuff or do the right stuff or treat me right or whatever? It's that 800-pound emotional gorilla that has built up over the years. Okay, next. If you can, Pull those emotions apart one at a time if you can. Now, the valley that I was just in, I was in a spot where I was not even able to do that. I had to go for a run. Now that I've kind of calmed down and I'm not necessarily in that valley anymore, I can go back and do that, which I probably need to and should. But if you can, pull out each one of those emotions one at a time. Oh, well, what is this emotion? And well, what is this emotion? And what is this emotion? And really reflect on it and allow yourself to feel that emotion. What does anger feel like? What does bitterness feel like? What does depressed feel like? What does anxiety feel like? What does disappointment feel like? What does sadness feel like? What does rejection feel like? Let yourself feel that emotion, not for hours and hours, but literally like maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, another idea, journal vomit. That's what I call it, journal vomit. Give me a little hashtag, journal vomit. Just vomit all your emotions, just write them all out. Don't judge yourself when you're writing. Don't analyze yourself when you're writing. Just put the stuff down on paper. Excuse me. There is therapy, there's catharsis just in journaling, putting those thoughts down. You can go back and review it later, but go through that stuff. Clarity, creativity, innovation, discovery, change, growth, impact, influence has all come from the valley I was just in literally a day or two ago. All of that stuff, clarity, creativity, innovation, discovery, change, growth, impact, influence, positive momentum. My last video, many of you saw, I talked about negative momentum that I had. So just in a matter of hours, God flipped the script and took me from a valley to a positive. So not only does God love you, but he likes you. My counselor told me that, my head about exploded. I mean, you want to talk about getting in the feels. That was, I've never heard that before. I've been in church, Bible thumper, holy roller guy forever. I've never heard that God likes me. That he doesn't just love, like he likes me. That's a different level of, I don't know, that was powerful for me. He meets us where we're at. Okay. Crying, chaos, confusion, uncertainty, fog, funk, stuck, then transition to a conversation with that couple and connection with that couple and questions from that couple led to a massive breakthrough. Did I know God was going to meet us there in that time of the lowest time after an hour and a half of Kathy's, thug tears? No, I had no idea. Let God show up in your life however he chooses to show up. Don't put him in a box. He doesn't fit in our little teeny boxes that we have of him. Let him work in your life however. Let him use whatever he wants to use to get through to you. And here's a beautiful thing. He doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste our stupid decisions, my emotional immaturity, all my failures, my shortcomings. He doesn't waste any of that stuff. He will redeem all of that stuff. Number 6, last one. Let's see, one other thing. This is another good point. One other thing. You will find what you're looking for. You will find what you're looking for. Now, for me, when I'm in a valley, guess what? It's very easy to find what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Stuff to reinforce my negative stories that I'm already telling myself. I'm looking for more reinforcement to build my mental file to justify my depression, my emotion, my tantrums, my whatever. So be careful because you will find what you're looking for. What are you looking for? Write that question down. What are you looking for? How can you be more intentional, right? That's this tattoo. How can you be more intentional with what you are looking for? Number 6, it's the last one. Number 6, get some go-to battle drill Bible verses to go through the tough times. Matthew 6:33. Someone write these in the chat log for me. Matthew 6:33. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. 1 Peter 5:7. Cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Another one, 2 Corinthians 5:17. I walk by my circumstances. I walk by faith, not by sight. Galatians 6:9. Do not be weary in well-doing, for at the proper time you will reap if you do not give up. 2 Corinthians 12:8-10. For when I am weak, he is strong. It's a lot better than that, but I'm just paraphrasing. So 6 points. Quick recap. Number 1, dig your relational well before you're thirsty. Number 2, take the initiative in growing and developing relationships. Number 3, ask yourself some hard questions. Number 4, never underestimate the power of questions. Number 5, give yourself permission to be in the valley. Number 6, get some go-to battle drill Bible verses that will help you through the tough times. If this has helped you or encouraged you in any way, please follow, share, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Love you all. God bless you. Let's change the world by changing your world by changing you.